In 4 of those take any rooms, you are given a choice: either a free blue potion refill or a free heart container to be added to your heart pool. Now, the 5th one is a free sword upgrade, so that's super nice at that point in time.
Yeah, and the thing about that is it is in the logic, so they can't actually be required to get that sword upgrade to do something. So you can ignore take any caves, but sometimes you do it at your peril. And we have started off and we see a map check from DT already. All 3 crystals in the light world and a red crystal at desert.
Absolutely. Now, another thing to take note of those take any caves, and it's an interesting combination with hard mode. Get our first sword immediately from the uncle, which is nice. Randomized swords, what? But in hard mode originally, you're only allowed maximum 14 heart containers. Now, the take any caves don't take that into account, so we can actually get more than 14 heart containers based on the hard mode restrictions, just if we end up choosing those in those take any caves. And both runners will have a bomb to start off with. Having that initial bomb, absolutely beneficial once we're able to get through the escape sequence. We just need one. More would be nice, but we're not going to spend any extra time farming for anything right now. So BernTheWitch is using the Magus Sprite. There's our first lift upgrade. Meanwhile, DT is using, frankly, the most annoying Sprite in the entire inventory, the pointer, because I keep thinking my pointer's on my screen when I'm watching. Both DT and BernTheWitch, as they're working their way through here, are in this Group A stage. No one has really locked down their placement here, although DT is awful close. He's sitting at 10-4 right now. This is his last match. He can absolutely lock in his ability to get into the final bracket stage with the win here. Bern is kind of at the opposite end. He needs a win here in order to keep his hopes alive, unfortunately. He's still in the running, but man, he needs some help, including winning here and winning his remaining matches, and a little bit of help from some of the other runners as well.
Yeah, I see we have some early boots. That's pretty nice.
I mean, we thought we might have a fast C, but now it's going to be even faster. So in a normal escape sequence, you're going to want to shoot for roughly a 6-minute escape from the time of the start of the game all the way until the very end when you're crossing the threshold into the sanctuary itself. With these boots, it's going to be probably done relatively easily between these guys. About 4 minutes is where you want to be once you get up from back to the ground level, and both these runners are making very good time right now.
Yeah, boots and along with the sword make this standard randomized swords pretty easy to deal with.
Absolutely. I mean, sword, almost everyone who practices any sort of standard mode is used to getting the sword, particularly those folks who do the NMG runs. You can just see the practice there. There is one key. Now, we were guaranteed to get at least one key through the escape sequence because we can't quite purchase things yet. DT farming up more. He might be hoping for more bombs, even though he already has one.
With the boots being able to bonk open that wall, it might have been maybe he was seeing if he could get some rupee drops, because again, resource management being very important in this mode.
This is absolutely true, and they're both working their way through escape right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them do the Houlihan start almost immediately after getting here. Houlihan, of course, is very popular, especially in retro mode.
Well, looks like powder and fire rod in the back of the escape there, so doesn't really do much for them right now, but well, actually the powder is kind of take or leave in hard mode, since it only gives you a heart instead of a...
Yeah, it's only slightly better than your average fetch quest. Oh, and the Cane of Samaria. Man, Fire Rod, Lift Upgrade, Boots, and the Cane of Samaria. This was a loaded escape sequence.
Yes, it was. Looks like both runners are going to forgo Houlihan right now. Hopefully they think of it later if they're running low on...
Bern actually ran right by the Bonk Rocks. DT finds just 5 there, so it's not going to penalize Bern unless he remembers it later and realizes, oh, crap.
I did not quite catch what that was.
Yeah, I didn't either, but we'll be able to see DT here shortly. A lot of runners do skip the lumberjack check until we start getting a logical possibility. Early boots and a sword mean, yeah, we might see something there. Looks like just a piece of heart.
A big 20 in the forest, but we're going to go ahead and pick it up because rupees are our friend in this mode.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised neither of them opted to do Houlihan right away. I'm honestly very surprised.
Yeah, especially in hard retro, making the rupees that much more needed for extra keys. Looks like both runners are going to make their way to Kakariko to start with, though. We got a lot of checks we can do there, and they have just enough for the bottle vendor. That's usually your first rupee roadblock.
You see BernTheWitch checking these houses. Now, those Take Any caves are designed to be any house or cave that only has one entrance and exit. So these houses that have multiple doors in them, we're never going to check those for the Take Any caves. But there's several houses here in Kakariko Village that could very easily have any of these Take Any caves in them. So we'll see some checks here. Here is DT purchasing bombs. Oh, there's a book in the basement. He's also going to go ahead and pick up his wooden arrows. Now, you normally in this game, you have to purchase your wooden arrows in order to be able to shoot them. However, there's currently a bug that everyone knows about that we haven't eliminated from it, that if you don't have any arrows, it will default to the wooden arrows. The problem is if you find the silvers, then you can't shoot wooden arrows, and that's a problem.
Yeah, DT also demonstrating why it's good to check shops early as well, because you got to find the one that is selling you keys. But now that they've found it, they don't necessarily need to check for more. They might check a couple near where they are to see if there's anything more convenient to purchase keys at, though.
Uh-oh, Master Sword. So we are now starting to look at... Oh, and a hammer! This is certainly interesting. We're one item from logical access to both having Aghanim be in logic and having Dark World access.
Yeah, we got 2 medallions already too. That's pretty nice. Bombo Sand Ether.
I see chat talking about, hey, we're going to be in go mode super quick because we're getting all sorts of items. The hammer, the bottle, fire rod, we're doing everything. Guys, keys. We need a lot of keys yet.
Yeah, it's still too early to counter go mode, right? To see BernTheWitch going to farm for bombs instead of buying them, save himself a few rupees. That's a good.
Oh, absolutely. If you can avoid buying anything until you need to, that's perfect. So Bern is going to check here. Be happy to see keys that you can.
And the interesting thing about Master Sword being available already is it makes the checks or take any case for swords to be a lot less vital, because there are still 4 swords, so there's still a 3rd one out here somewhere outside of a check.
Sick Kid giving us lamp. We have access to Aghanim already.
Did DT skip the Sick Kid? I think he might have. That might be an interest. That might make him lose a little bit of time having to come back to Kakariko for that.
I think he got the book and immediately wanted to come up here because the memes wanted to check what was on the pedestal, and it was just a bottle of red goo.
Okay, yeah, it looks like he's coming back down, so he'll get that lamp. So if we see the cape, that's a pretty strong indicator that Aghanim's needed in some capacity. But actually, also, there are 2 items in Aga Tower, so they could just be getting access to the tower.
This is true. That is worth noting, with the keys now being universal. Aga Tower has items. 2 of them, in fact. We don't know exactly what they're going to be. We know they're not going to be like a map or a compass or anything. So having logical access to those might make that play interesting. And there's the first of our Take Any Caves, BernTheWitch finds down there, and he opts smartly, I would say, for that heart container.
So, DT checking the powder. Did BernTheWitch? I think BernTheWitch checked this.
I don't think. Well, he may have. Either way, it wasn't anything.
Alright, 300 rupees. Normally trash, but I think we'll go ahead and collect those this time. Gotta buy us some keys.
Absolutely. 300 rupees? You mean 3 keys? Yes, I will absolutely pick those up.
So all they're missing for Dark World access is Pearl, which makes Aghanim a little bit less likely. So I wonder how early we'll get them to check the tower for.
Well, we have a lot of logical access right now. Things have opened up a little bit for us. I don't know if we're going to see that Aga play immediately. I imagine they're going to hold off on it, but having this early access means that Moon Pearl could well be on our way up the tower.
Yeah, I haven't seen Pearl on Pyramid in a while, so that could be interesting.
And yeah, for key logic, guys, a lot of keys have been removed, but there's still so many extra that are in the item pool that have been randomized that, we will have to purchase some keys, absolutely. But other places like Skull Woods that has a lot of extra keys that are out there, places like Misery Mire that has a lot of extra keys that are out there, we can take that into consideration, and we'll have to buy some, but there's still a lot out there that are in the item pool, so you don't want to throw all of your money away quite immediately.
Speaking of money, we see BernTheWitch visiting our favorite Desert Thief, where you can farm to your heart's content. Looks like a stop on the way to Desert, though. He's going to go check out what this book brings him. With a little stop by our favorite hermit, Aghanim.
Is he really our favorite hermit?
Well, he is technically our only hermit, according to hints, so.
Okay, I'll concede that point.
Looks like Agna didn't have anything of interest for us today. Well, unless you're, really counting every single rupee, he gave us 5. Nothing on the desert ledge, so both of these runners are going to show us what's inside a desert following that book earlier. They do have the way to full clear, or means to full clear it right now, so it's not a bad...
No, it's not, especially since it's one of those 5-6 crystals. We don't know where the other 5-6 crystal is, somewhere in the Dark World, but early access to a 5-6 crystal, that paints an interesting picture for you.
So it is boots locked, as we see from getting a heart piece in that container, or in that chest. And desert in this mode has 3 items instead of just 2, so we might get something extra.
Well, Bern just showed us that it's not necessarily boots lock. We just needed that small key because he's an item pool.
Right, retro. Little tricks.
So many little tricks. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that retro is not as popular with a lot of runners, because it turns the logic on its head so much, where keys are just available. And the logic presumes that you have access to all the keys.
Yeah, every mode has its own little own list of things you gotta kind of think about. Item dungeon counts being a thing here in this mode. Like I mentioned, there's 3 instead of 2 because the big key, the map, and the compass are guaranteed to be in every dungeon. But other than that, all the locations are up for grabs. It's like key sanity, but totals, but -3. And so far, desert is not really giving us anything. Let's see, did they find both the map and the compass? I think they did.
I think we're actually still... I want to say the compass is still out there, but I'm not entirely sure. I know the map was there. Either way, we'll find out here directly, because we will have to switch to the fire source, so DT will be able to show us first.
Yeah, even if they get nothing but a crystal out of this, it's still worthwhile.
No, absolutely. It's in logic, and it's not all that slow. You can go through here relatively quickly. Yeah, I think you're... Question from SC Solzik. Are there more big rupee packs because it's retro? No, there are not.
No, but there are many tricks you have to take advantage of rupee farming in this game. So basically test your knowledge of that instead, trying to do all the things you can do, such as archery game in the Dark World, assuming that it hasn't turned into a Take Any Cave, which I think it's on the list right now. Hopefully they remove it.
Oh, I didn't know archery game could end up being the Take Any Cave, but that is a very popular choice for rupee farming, because you can get a lot of rupees very, very quickly with that.
Yeah, I forget who, but there was a race where it was a Take Any Cave with the sword, I believe, so they were not able to do the art.
I mean, that just slows things down a little bit, I think, unfortunately.
Alright, and there's our compass and our first crystal for DT, BernTheWitch, right behind them. So now we get to see where these guys are going to go next. We still have, they haven't done any of South Shore or the eastern area, so there's a lot of places left to check.
Yeah, it's still very early for us to already have a dungeon done, so that's super nice, actually. We'll see where these two go. DT looks like he's going to check the Hermit, and Bern might do a save and quit. I don't know what he'll be.
Well, he having already checked, Agna has to go to another area now to find some different items. Starting in the house, is he going to go South Shore or Eastern? Looks like South Shore. He's still checking take any caves, which is interesting considering that they have Master Sword, so they don't really necessarily need that sword. Or the, I mean, the heart containers are nice if you find one of them.
Yeah, the fact that they only have 4 hearts right now, even with their current weapon and armor loadout, hard mode is going to be a little bit rough anyway, and if you're nervous about your play, like I take a lot of hits, I'm a tank. I'm super nervous about not having armor and not having a whole lot of health as well.
Yeah, I have seen some hard mode seeds where there were no heart containers anywhere in the go mode path, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to look for extra.
This is just a money cave. Give you a heart container and then chump shade.
And the interesting thing is they have these boots, so will they go ahead and set up the water walk and check some of the flipper items while they're in the air? It's a couple extra checks that you can get out of the way now, and you can get them out relatively fast with the boots. And
question in chat, was Hype Cave already checked? No, we don't have access to the Dark World, so we have no idea what's going on.
Okay, nothing in Ice Rock Cave. DT is not going to go for the water walk.
I'm telling you, my retro mode senses are tingling. I think Agina's Cave is going to have, or not Agina's Cave, Aghanim's Tower is going to have something in terms of progression. That is such a new wrinkle. Oh!
Well, there's a nice bow once we find the flippers. And the mirror. And Dark World access.
Okay, so we're a few things away from that, but it's still nice to know.
Alright, DT checking Sahasrara. Gonna get these 3 items. BernTheWitch doing this bonk rocks now instead of earlier. I'm not sure where he's planning on going. Oh, he's gonna go up the mountain. Which there's a couple of items and a hint up here, so not a bad item. Or he's gonna prove me wrong and go completely away from them.
This might... Yeah, he's still hunting these take any caves. Oh.
Well, he found a sword that DT's likely never to find, but again, not strictly necessary, so it's interesting that he was still doing it. Of course, if DT never finds the last sword that's outside of that cave, it will give him a bit of an...
Absolutely. So DT is diving deeper into Eastern Palace. Just found the map in the first one. Logically, we have access. I mean, there is another rupee cave in here, so we'll be able to get some more rupes. Bern is going to get a couple items. Again, he's also still in logic. We'll see which choice ends up being the right one.
Chat does not mean that DT is stuck with blue sword, because there are still 4 swords in hard mode placed. So there is a 4th sword somewhere out in the world that's outside of that cave. But if he doesn't find it, he will probably be stuck with blue sword, because he will not be checking that take any.
Old man didn't give us a whole lot, just a bloopy there, and bombs for DT. We're starting to run out of locations.
And Bern's going to go ahead and get the item blind so he could get the hint. Speaking of hints, I totally missed that one in Eastern. I think it said something about Turtle Rock. But...
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, finding Mitts before Pearl means things are opening up pretty good in here. But where is the pearl. Aghanim's Tower?
Yeah, I'm thinking Aga's Tower is about it. I mean, there is this last treasure chest, which I think has to be the big key, because we don't have the big key quite yet. No, wait, we do. But the hint that we ended up getting right there ended up saying that some cache and the compass was fire-locked in mire. So it's nice to be able to completely avoid that particular section. And just another $5.
Yeah, and chat says that the hint in Eastern was that there's bombs in Turtle Rock, I think. So that hint not as good. But looks like we are definitely going to run out of places here soon for the pearl to be there. We do have King's Tomb access now, as DTs are going to check for us.
I mean, this could be it. Nope, just a red meringue.
And that is even less helpful to find in hard mode because it does not stun enemies, so it's basically just a way to hit switches and things like.
DT looks like he is setting up. He's going to be doing something.
He's checking shops for key, or that shop to see if it's a key shop, but other than that, I'm not sure where he was planning.
Well, if you're starting to think about Aga right now, you do need 2 keys to climb Aga's Tower, and he only has 1. So right. I imagine he's going to have to go back to Kakariko Village, where he knows there's a key shop, buy a key, and then have to do Aga's Tower. This is, again, there's a lot of future planning that you have to do in retro mode with your key.
Yeah, it could just be that the pearl is in one of those 2 chests and you won't actually need that extra key, but better to be safe than. They do have Zora available though too, and they did miss a opportunity to set up Water Walk and check all that at the same time. So we're looking at probably Aga Tower or Zora as our logical spots to.
Aga Tower with 2, plus giving me Dark World access. I mean, we have Dark World access a number of other ways, just looking for the Pearl. I don't know. I feel like Aga Tower is still where I'd want to.
Yeah, it's definitely more attractive at this point since they didn't do the water walk when they were over there. But he's gonna go to the mountain first and get that hint and see those 2 items, and then probably go to Aga Tower. Zora will be somewhere pretty low on their list. Also, he does cost 500 rupees. So.
Yeah, Zora is literally the last place that you ever want anything important to be. A lot of people will even do a save and quit. That way, if they go to Zora and Zora ends up being nothing, then they can just reset and get their rupees.
Yeah, it's a lot of arrows to give up. And or keys. So BernTheWitch and DT are just following each other's footsteps right now. BernTheWitch, I think, is going to be in a position to go up to Aghanim's Tower a little bit quicker after that. But he might also check King's Tomb since he just got those admit. Nope, he will not. I think he's going to the tower. And
he thought he was going to the tower.
He may have just thought about King's Tomb after he did that. Yeah, I think.
That's the situation I think all of us have been in, where we start to go somewhere and then we're like, oh, wait, I'm being dumb right now.
Well, he should be really excited to get this boomerang, and then he can go into Aghanim's Tower. Alright, so DT ends up being the first one to make that play. So we got 2 items that we're going to do here. The question is, does he go all the way? But I think he will, even if he doesn't find the pearl, because at that point you might as well just commit to it, even if the pearl is just on Zora.
As soon as you said that, for some odd reason, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking of a football announcer. It could go all the way. But that's... Oh, no.
Or it could just be at the shovel spot, which would be kind of funny. Because, you know, they're just going to probably go all the way to the top if they don't find the pearl, but it being at the shovel spot would just be the most obnoxious thing at this point, I think, even over... Alright, well, it looks like we're committed to an Aghanim fight now. So, if the pearl is not on the pyramid and there's, like, no progression on the pyramid, they'll basically just be spending some time to defeat Aghanim for no real reason other than it's just more convenient than coming back if you have to. So, this is I can't wait to see where this pearl is.
Yeah, Bern's also heading that direction. It feels like this is the right call, but man, that shovel is super tempting right now, isn't it?
I mean, as far as time management, this is really the best call because you don't want to come back here. But it might not be, you know, the correct as it goes in Rando. The right call and the correct call are two different.
All right, so they are working their way up the tower slowly but surely.
And it looks like Graveyard Ledge is off the table today, so that's nice. A little time save there. Alright, in the name of DT, going to be fighting Aghanim very soon. What do you think, chat? How many blue balls?
I expect 7.
I'm gonna go for 4, and Aghanim's not required, just to make it, you know, a little extra.
Just to twist the knife a little bit more.
Well, so far we're doing good, though. No, Aghanim's being very generous today.
I'm a little bit disappointed in Aga being this generous. Oh, there's another one.
Was that 3?
That's 3 so far.
Oh, I didn't quite get it.
And I was way off, but that's okay.
Well, let's see what the paperclip finds here, besides the fact that Turtle Rock and Thieves Town and Ice Palace are all pendants, the Ice Palace being green, and Skullwoods being the other 5, 6.
Skullwoods, with that early fire rod, does mean it's completely accessible once we find the Moon Pearl, and it's not there. It's the
Shovel or Zora, which one do you want it to be?
Okay, the runners want it to be Zora. Or want it to be Shovel. I think we all want it to be Zora because they've both done a great job of collecting all their rupees, and I think they need a little bit of trolling.
Those pendants, though, very interesting. Speaking of trolling, we know there's nothing on the pedestal, but oh, there it is. It was at the shop.
So it was, and DT looks like he's going to continue on, going to enter in the portal that's just north of the village.
Yeah, getting some nice spin speed action there, and avoiding all those guards that appear after you defeat Aghanim for what was apparently no reason in this. Double dip Aghanim's, or go into Aghanim's tower to get the shovel to get the moon pearl outside of Aghanim's tower, all while doing Aghanim just to maximize your time efficiency. Sounds a lot like the rando we love to play.
And DT is making a beeline, going right for Skullwoods. Again, it's in logic. It's the other 5/6 crystal. Seems like you'd want to take advantage of this as soon as you can. BernTheWitch, though, is heading the south route. Looks like he's going to get a hype cave check.
Well, he can do the south items into Village of Outcasts with those mitts, which is probably what he's thinking about doing. And if he gets lucky and gets the mirror anywhere on the way, he can go ahead and start the smith chain.
All right, chat. Another time, get your guesses in. What's Hype Cave going to be? Is it going to be reasonable hype? Is it going to be a double? Money. Money. A key, which is money. Money.
That was a pile of crap. The boomerang being insult to injury.
The bloomerang, which doesn't even stun in hard mode. Yeah, that's a pretty bad hype game.
What's that? You're playing hard mode? Why don't you have both the boomerangs just for fun? DT did find bombs in the back of Skullwoods here. I don't think he's actually looked anywhere else for items yet. He's doing the Skullwoods reverse play since he knows he's going to defeat. And BernTheWitch doing that south route that was discussed. He's going to do the digging game, and then we'll probably ignore the smith for now since he doesn't have mirror, but he can just go into the Village of Outcasts and start checking all that stuff right. They find money at the dig game. Basically getting a refund.
DT was blessed with a full magic pot as he's clearing out that Gibdo in order to get one more key. Bern went ahead and got Jeremiah and just saved him.
Wow, that was a very nice Mothula fight on DT's side. He just didn't get hit once and put Mothula down so fast. Gets his second crystal. Sorry,
second crystal, yeah, and the 5/6 as well.
I can see why Bern would do it this way too, though, because he was gonna check the Village of Outcasts anyway. It doesn't take too long to dash over here with the boots, so just grab that guy and run over here, and then he's got the mitt, so he has the easy way back into the village. DT, meanwhile, gonna have to search for that second item, I believe, because I don't think he got it yet.
Not yet. He was absolutely hoping that he wouldn't have to backtrack and do any of these, but only one of the two found so far. Oh.
Well, that would have been nice to get first, but again, he didn't have any trouble with that fight either. So, and that negates any potential advantage Bern was going to have from that sword and that taking. Well, you got a second item, which is Cape in Skullwoods, which is very convenient for actually. I'm stupid. It's
retro, yeah.
So there are 4 items in Skullwoods. Sorry, derpy moment. There's 4 items in Skullwoods in this mode. So I found a flute, which is pretty nice, and Cape, which is right next to the Bumper Cave. So that's also very convenient.
I was gonna say, all things said, that was a pretty loaded Skullwoods there. One of the 5/6 crystals. So I mean, Pyramid Fairy could have even more stuff from our completion of that, plus a sword upgrade, which Bern isn't going to be able to get. He's already maxed out. But also the cape and the flute. Yeah, I think that was pretty loaded.
Yeah, I don't know where DT is going. He should have. Oh wait, I do know. I think I do know what he's doing. He's going to grab this key and saving.
Yeah, this is worth 100 rupees right here.
Yeah, plus if he's about to go into Thieves Town, he might want that key to go ahead and get that item. But of course, Thieves Town is a pendant, so that's going to make going into it a little less, or a little more of a consideration. But yeah, Skullwoods was very loaded overall with all those good items. Bern's going to go ahead and clear it out right after DT here. And we'll see. It looks like DT is going to go check the Village of Outcasts. We'll see if he goes ahead and cleans out Thieves Town, which is 5 items in this.
Well, and with the flute, though, I mean, think about this. We have access to the Misery Mire area. Do you peek that just to think, do I have to keep searching for Quake? We have 2 out of the 3 medallions already.
You know, the flute makes getting back here pretty easy, so I would see doing a little bit of intelligence gathering to be not a bad idea, but I think he is just going to check the village right now. Yeah, it's 3 overworld checks and 5 items in Thieves Town if he chooses to dip that.
He does also have 1 more key, so if he needs to open that door, I imagine he'll be in a good spot to be able to do so. And silver arrows, which kind of a blessing and a curse. Yeah, they're great, but in hard mode, they're only good against Ganon, and even then, that's $50 a shot.
Yeah, as long as they have 200 rupees by the end of Ganon's Tower, though, they're okay. And they don't, I mean, this not being swordless, they have Tempered Sword anyway, so silvers are kind of, you know, take them or leave them in. They will save some time if they have the money for them, but overall, they don't matter like as far as completing this. And DT gonna go ahead and dip in here for these 5 items. Not finding too much of interest so far, but he does have 4 more checks in the back. BernTheWitch gonna drop into Mothula with a slightly better sword here, so we'll see if he has as good of a fight as DT.
Worth noting, even for a hard mode seed, this has been pretty sickly. I mean, DT still only has 5 hearts. Bern, who's done some extra hunting for these take-any rooms, still only had 6, and yeah, he takes a death there.
Yeah, 6 heart Mothula is nothing to play around with. DT checking that that hint over here in Thieves Town, getting a joke hint, so nothing really to write home about.
Bern's diving right back in. He wants another go at this moth.
Yeah, he does have the boots and the sword, and you know that makes it a little bit easier. He can get a couple of dash pokes off right away if he times it right. DT, meanwhile, is getting a little low on health there. Mothula being a bit of a pain and camping in the corner over. But Bern's doing a good job so far of avoiding him, and there he goes. He's got the moth.
Great moth fight there. Not quite DT, but again, there's the other 5-6 crystals. So both runners sitting at 2 crystals. DT is just a little bit ahead in terms of the straight line progression here. No real route divergence here between these two. There was a little bit of separation early, but nothing yet.
And so far, Thieves Town has been complete garbage. So we'll see. Oh, there's Quake. So, I wonder if that's going to be...
I mean, at this point, who cares what's required and what's not? We have all the medallions.
Yeah, but if it's not required and BernTheWitch chooses not to go into Thieves Town, you could save a little bit of time. Because we do only have to theoretically get into Misery Mire. And BernTheWitch taking a little Death Warp there to start checking... Well, he's already checked the front, but he's probably wanting to go down to the village. Maybe check the bumper cave since he got that key. I'm not sure if Blind has an item at this point. I feel like we saw a lot of items so far. I didn't see.
I'm kind of with you there. I don't know if we have anything here.
I think we saw at least 4 items, so there's only 5 in here.
Well, DT gets out bomb.
Okay, so an item, but not a worthy item, unfortunately. So, assuming Quake is necessary, this dip was pretty good, but we'll have to wait. I mean, they could have an item inside of Turtle Rock as well at this point. So, let's see. We still need the hook shot, the mirror, and the flippers, and we know where the bow is. So,
hookshot, mirror, and flippers, and that's it. Really.
Yes, Chad, it is too late to hope for bow on Ped because Pedestal has a bottle with. Hey, DT gonna come over here and check the hammer pegs. He is not turned into Smith though, so he won't be able to grab the purple chest while he's here. He may not want to. Might be hoping for a hint in that regard. Taking advantage of that fancy item dash you get to do, so he could take a look at those blue rupees and then get right out of there because.
And if chat's wondering why are there so many more blue rupees than you're used to seeing, well, a lot of those arrows were replaced with the blue rupees. So there's just a metric crap ton of those rupees out there.
And it looks like the runners are going to follow in each other's footsteps again for a little bit. Bern going to finish up Thieves Town here. DT's about to do the south route to Hype Cave, I believe, and then. Who knows, he might run over to Pod area, but he doesn't have any keys, so maybe Pyramid and Catfish. You technically need at least 4 keys to full clear every item out of Palace of Darkness. And having 0 right now, he does have a ton of rupees to buy some.
If he wanted to go buy some keys, I think that might be a solid play. Picking up Jeremiah to do the loop, that'll allow him to save and quit once he's done with that particular route. I imagine while he's in the village, he'll pick up some keys, which would be good routing on his part.
Yeah, we still do need a intelligence dive into Mire area to see what we can find there. They could actually complete it at this point because they definitely have. So that would actually be a pretty solid play too. Alright, so where is Bern gonna go? Looks like he actually opted to not finish Thieves Town, which, if Quake is required, is not going to be great for him. He only did the first. But we're about to find out.
Absolutely. It won't give us 100% knowledge because there could still be something required in Turtle Rock, and it is, you're not even going to show us.
Cannot say that. Oop, I think that was Quake.
I think that was quick too.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt a little bit that he dipped out of Thieves Town.
That is actually great news for DT, finishing that up.
Yeah, so Thieves Town deep dip definitely required. Unfortunately, Bern decided to do the traditional pendant Thieves Town, check the first 4 and leave.
All right, DT in the meantime looks like he's going over, picking up some potion.
Yeah, if he's planning on going into Mire next, Vitreous is nothing to play with, so not a terrible. I mean, for 5 hearts, he has the tempered sword and the hammer, but still, you know, it's a little gross to do Vitreous in those circumstances. But he's actually going to the Dark World right now to do, I'm not sure what. I think he had this area all the way cleared already, so I'm not sure what he's looking.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Bern, meanwhile, is loaded up on the keys. He's getting a ton. I gotta think with this many keys, either he's just loading up as many as he can, or he's got a pretty key-dense location in mind, possibly Palace of Dark.
Yeah, it turns out that DT wanted to actually grab that purple chest after all, and yeah, I think Bern might be going Palace of Darkness with that many keys. Interesting that nobody has gone. Well, I mean, Bern checked the Mire area. He can't get in there. Interesting that DT hasn't gone there yet, since he can definitely full clear. He may just go after this, though.
I'm itching to know what's at the purple chest or at the Pyramid Fairy. I'm sorry. You know, we had those 2 early, logically required, 5-6 crystals that we could just knock out almost immediately. Something feels like it's got to be there.
Well, DT may be about to find out. He's in the right area, and if he wants to go to Pod after this, he could just do the Pyramid Fairy to the Pyramid, or Pyramid Fairy Pyramid, and then run over to Pod. But he's going to check the Hinted Swamp first, it looks like, to see what that. And it's not going to tell him anything that he really wants to know, so he's going to go possibly to Pyramid Fairy at this point, since he's in the.
First item in Palace of Darkness was just a big 20. Now, normally, in those circumstances, we would be able to say that, hey, Pod is bow locked, but that's not the case because we have the key.
Yeah, so we know we're not going to find the mirror or the flippers here, though, if that is indeed bow locked. But he can check this hint, and he might get the hook shot, which could conceivably save him. However, if the hook shot is in any way locked behind the flippers or the mirror, then he's really just wasting.
This is interesting. Bern is setting up the bottle glitch over here, which is, I mean, blue potions don't. Potions generally in hard mode don't have a great utility. They only have 7 heart refills and half magic refills, but still, burning a blue potion for that glitch.
Oh yeah, and excuse me, I keep forgetting about retro and the keys. So yeah, we are not bow locked. We can in fact find any kind of thing.
All right, DT, show us the goodies. I am slightly disappointed.
Well, hey, 100 rupees / a key. There you go. Looks like DT is going to go ahead and check the catfish, which is about the best time to get this out of the way since there's no good time to really route.
No, not really. Catfish. Oh. Meanwhile, Bern finds the hook shot.
Yeah, so now we're just looking for the mirror and the flip. I think Flipper's go mode is really the dream here because it means that you could really go mode ice or swamp palace. I mean, since nobody really wants to flip. Actually, no. At this point, they're guaranteed a full or a go mode swamp palace because they need the mirror and the flipper.
Yep. You take that, think about that, and also considering that the flippers are and the mirror are what's blocking the bow, so we can't complete Eastern or Pod without that either.
And the bow is sitting on Hylia Island, so we know we need the mirror and the flippers to get. So we are looking at a go mode swamp, which is nice. We just have to figure out where in the world we can get that those flippers and that mirror from. We do have a lot of Dark Death Mountain open now, and we do have all of Mire that nobody's gone into yet.
Bern doing a death warp. He's probably going to go in here to get these last two treasures that are in the very back. He's going to have to spend a couple keys to do so. But I got to imagine he's on his way up to Death Mountain almost immediately after this.
Yeah, hookshot and mitts and all that. Yeah, I would think so. He can also take care of Hera while he. Question is, if Turtle Rock is not Quake, will he decide to go? Meanwhile, DT is going to go ahead and give us our look into Mire, since he can full clear it. It is 5 items in a full clearable dungeon for a crystal, so a solid play.
Yeah, sometimes it can be confusing remembering that it's retro mode and all those keys that you pick up in Misery Mire are now items, so it makes it so much more valuable to do this dive.
I mean, I've only forgotten it's retro like 3 times so far, so yeah.
Oh, but we did have a hint that said the fire locked area was kind of unneeded because it was just some cash and I believe the compass.
Right, so technically only 4 items to get in here, but that's still worth a dip. They won't have to go to the left side though, which saves a little time on coming in here as well. It makes it a pretty ideal check to get this done. Oh, meanwhile, we found a couple of safeties in 2 different spots. DT pulling out the Cane of Berna and BernTheWitch pulling out the net, which is actually less of a safety in hard mode since it's pretty much just there for show. He can do some swagging him. That's
Well, and keep in mind, the Cane of Berna doesn't actually even give you safeties in hard mode. It's not invincibility. It will still hit stuff, but won't make you invincible.
well, if they want to use it on Spike Cave or on Laser Bridge, maybe, but they do have boots, so they're less about Spike Cave is about all they would really care to use. Safety in hard mode being a relative term.
This is true. Absolutely.
So if you have, all 6 of your hearts, you're safe, right?
All 6 hearts. Yeah, let's do that green mail, all 6 hearts. Let's go ahead and dip Turtle Rock. That sounds like a good plan. There's the mirror on BernTheWitch's side.
All right, so we are flippers away from go mode. Where are we gonna find those? So far, not in Meyer because GT is almost to the end. I think he might have an item on Vitch.
Well, and BernTheWitch also ended up finding the ice rod while he was over here, so that's not happy times.
Well, it certainly makes the prospect of Turtle Rock more enticing, I guess, because you can definitely get all the... But of course, he's going to want to do Hera first, and he can check the Ether tablet while he's over here.
Yes, chat, bow is also needed, but we know exactly where the bow is. It is on the Lake Hylia Island, so it is both flippers and mirror locked. Once we have both of those, we'll be able to go ahead and grab that bow.
Yeah, and for Bern, of course, he unfortunately has to go deeper into Thieves Town to get that Quake Medallion, which is probably going to have him searching places DT will not have to, which is unfortunate. DT, meanwhile, is getting real close here. He's going to have to be careful. All right, one heart, just the big eye. He should be able to do this though. You can get this guy into the corner pretty. And I was watching DT, so I missed that hint on from her. But
I think it was something Ganon's tower, so.
Okay, and then BernTheWitch is discovering that you do have to go downstairs for the big key. So the question of if one of the 3 items is in the basement, do you go down there, does not have to be answered today. Where is DT gonna go though? He does have 4 keys though, so Pod is still a decent play, and would be a better play before the mountain since we know hookshot. And looks like that's what he's gonna do.
Now, this is kind of the breadcrumb that we know that DT has to do, because as soon as he gets that hook shot, he'll find the mirror. Interesting to know that that hook shot was our intended way up Death Mountain, because the only other way up is with the mirror, and if it's on that side, we were required to dip into Palace Darkness before we ever set foot on that side of the place.
Oh yeah, I guess DT doesn't really have anything he can do up on the mountain, can he? So, well, this does make the this pretty much the play. And chat raising a good point. If Bern were interested in going into Eternal Rock to clear it, he is going to want to get some keys, because he does only have 1. And he would need 4 to get every item. And there's a hint that would have saved ET a little time, unfortunately. But it's out of the little...
Well, Bern ended up getting it with enough time to save him, at least.
Yeah, he has thus far managed to avoid going there, so it's going to help him. He does need all the time saves he can get, considering he has left that Quake Medallion. Unfortunately, he might be in a situation where he does not go mode swamp, and could possibly lead a lot of time added to his...
And Moldorm was trying his hardest to knock Bern off that edge, rewarded with just a piece of heart, but more importantly, the other crit.
Okay, so if he has the medallion, will he go into Turtle Rock? I think we're going to find out soon, because he's going that...
chat bringing up a good point. I don't actually think Bern knows, because we saw DT do the fake flipper and go over and see the bow. I don't know if Bern actually checked that.
You're right. I don't think he did actually, so that could further lead to some time drag. DT making the move and picking up the rupees in this room, which are a lot more valuable. Again, keys. Need lots of keys in this mode. And he still potentially has to go. He doesn't know if he's going to have to dip into Turtle Rock. You need at least 2 keys for Ganon's Tower. And that's not even the last dungeon that he's got to go into. So he's going to make sure he can buy a couple more. And he still also doesn't even know if he needs Zora at this point.
Oh god, Vanilla Zora with flippers. That would be fantastic.
Well, we can always hope, right? Because most of the time, people fake flipper up there anyway. They're not going to want to go up there without the flippers if they can help it. But so getting flippers there is usually pretty fun. Okay, he can get into Turtle Rock because it's Bombos. Will he go for it?
I mean, that could be where our flippers are.
Unfortunately, even if they're in here, I think he goes. He has more incentive to go for it because again, he doesn't know where Quake is and he doesn't know where the bow is. So, as far as he's concerned, Turtle Rock is a great player right now. And yeah, he's not saving and quitting, so I think he might be going for it. Oh, he's going to do a blind check of the island as well. It looks like.
He did check the island. I think it's 300 rupees.
Oh, I think maybe because there's a. Well, then I don't know what he's doing. I think there's a bomb shop in here, but oh yeah, he might be seeing if there's keys here. No, he's going to check the island. I don't know. Oh, it's 300 rupees. Right, that makes sense. Just kidding. Money is your friend.
Yep, money. It is a drag. And yeah, you made the right call. Bern is absolutely doing Turtle Rock, which, I mean, if the flippers are here, that's the best news for Bern, because I think DT will try to avoid here if he can.
I am gonna go out on a limb and say that's really not the best news for him because he's really got to get that Quake. And if he gets flippers, he's 100% going to full clear ice and swamp, or definitely swamp, possibly ice before he goes back to the back of the turtle.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
He also has a lot of mirror spots that he can check down on the regular world too. So we'll see what he does after that. But that's one of those things, unfortunately, Thieves Town back area, where if you leave it, you are going to come back to that as late as possible.
Particularly since it's a pendant. Yeah. It's really unfortunate because I think that one play is what made the difference here. You know, and the race is still far from over, but, you know, the more we're looking at it, the more I think this is DT's race to lose. But Bern's been playing very well, all things said, and it's just that one decision.
Yeah, that's going to be DT is 100% has swamp go mode. Bern is not going to necessarily be in that situation looking for that medallion, so that one decision is definitely going to cause a lot of pain in this one. Considering a medallion can be basically anywhere but in the dungeon that locks, that leaves a lot of things left to check, a lot of extra stuff you can check. So a medallion is one thing that you don't want to be needing as your last item.
What overworld checks are left? We have Zora and mirror spots, and I think that's just about it in terms of the spots. We know that the bow is on Lake Hylia Island. We also haven't done Spike Cave. Haven't even peeked that yet, so that's really kind of where we're at in terms of the overworld. Otherwise, it's dungeons, dungeons, dungeons.
Yeah, to answer chat, to the medallion, Quake was in the back of Thieves Town, and Bern only did the first 4 and left, while DT full cleared it. So that's going to leave a lot of things left that BernTheWitch is going to want to check before he ever gets back to the back of Thieves Town, whereas DT is going to be searching for flippers for go mode, and he's definitely not going to check anything swamp, and he's definitely not going to have to go to ice. DT is going to go ahead and check Ether Tablet and go into Hera for his 3 items, though. So he's going to be getting all the stuff that Bern already got. Meanwhile, Bern is going to be showing us some new stuff here in Turtle Rock. The flippers could still be in here, but so far, no dice.
We're quickly running out of locations for it to be. We know flippers cannot be in Ice Palace. They can't be in Swamp Palace. They can be in some of those other overworld checks, but otherwise I feel like it's either in Turtle Rock or in those overworld, and that's it.
Yeah, we've got Turtle Rock and Mirror Spots and Zora, basically, I believe. So outside of Turtle Rock, maybe 4 or 5 places, I think, to check.
None of them particularly well, like, grouped together, so they're all kind of one-off checks that you have to fly around for.
So we're gonna get a Mimic Cave from a check from Bern. And unfortunately, even if he finds the flippers here, he's definitely going through the rest of Turtle Rock because he, again, doesn't know where that bow or that Quake is. But let's see what we get out of this. Well, just a key, but that's not a bad thing to find in that right there. To answer chat, no, DT checked the Hylia Island, but as far as we remember, Bern did not actually go down there to check that. So he does not really know where the bow is, and he doesn't know where Quake is.
And yep, King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks were both checked. We had early boots. Boots were actually in the escape, and then we got the Titan's Mitts relatively early too. So yeah, pretty early checks for both of them.
All right, Bern's coming up on Laser Bridge, so these and Trinex. So we'll see. I think he may have gotten at least the map or compass so far. Maybe we could see his menu if he changes. And then DT's about to hit Moldorm up, but that fight's going to be pretty fast with the Tempered Sword. Bern going to go ahead and take the safety door just in case.
Yeah, he's sitting at green mail right now, so taking just a single shot from these lasers will...
Gonna go ahead and do bootsless laser skips, it looks like. Did really nice on that one. So far, just bombs on Laser Bridge. And more bombs on Laser Bridge. All right, struggling a little bit on this third one, but it gets it that time. Nice. There's the map, and yeah, so Trinex definitely has an item, and he's got the last item here on the laser bridge too.
There they are.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So he could have stopped there, but he's gonna do all kinds of other stuff before he goes back for quick.
Well, so we know DT will eventually have to hit up Turtle Rock. Now, I imagine he'll even be checking all those other overworld mirror lock locations that we were talking about earlier before he ends up doing Turtle Rock, because logically he can kind of puzzle together that Swamp and Ice Palace can't have what he's looking for. And since he knows where the bow is, you know, he doesn't need to finish Easterner Pod as well. So yeah, it's just check the rest of the overworld and then dip Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and once again, he only has like 4 or 5 spots to check outside of Turtle Rock, so this won't take him too long. The bow is on Hylia Island, so flippers were really the last thing you needed in order to finish the seed, which in Bern's case is not the case because he did not get Quake from the back of Thieves Town, and he does not actually see where the bow was yet.
Oh, Bombo's tablet had our first armor upgrade of the seed, so DT is armored up as much as you can be in hard mode.
Well, Bern's probably going to go ahead and get that at some point because he's about to do all these overall checks, I think, after he leaves this area. Well, I guess he has access to a couple dungeons. He might want to go there, too. Bern having a pretty nice Trinex fight, though, so he's done with Turtle Rock. Got all the items he can out of there, which Flippers was really the only thing of worth. But now he's going to... Looks like potentially a Swamp Dip right now.
Yeah, he got the hint that it's not Pyramid Fairy, and that's the only other reason to come over here. Although he could do the Bombo's tablet check, which he just ended up doing. DT just did as well, so that would be nice for Bern.
He could also blind check Hylia Island, but I think in his situation, Swamp is the most sensible play because it has the most items. DT, meanwhile, is going to check Zora, maybe?
Yeah, this is the shortest way to get to Zora, is to fake flipper your way over to it. I can't imagine he's doing Ice Palace. That would be silly at this point.
Yeah, he's just going to go run up there real quick. He's not going to get much for his trouble. I guess he could possibly get the mushroom or something, you know, that'll lead him further astray, but he's definitely not going to find what he's looking for.
I think the worst part about this check is it's going to bankrupt DT. He will have only 9 rupees after this unless he does a hard reset.
Yeah, he definitely could have stood to save these 500 rupees for something more important. I don't think he did a save and quit so that he could hard reset. Okay, so he has a couple of mirror spots left to check, but it looks like he might just go ahead and commit to Turtle Rock instead.
I mean, this is the play we know he needs to make.
Or he could be going to Spike Cave, actually.
That spin speed. That's such a satisfying place to have spin speed.
Yeah, so the Cane of Burner does work in this cave and is Probably the less annoying thing to use in this case, so he's going to go ahead and use that. You see, we got something out of Burner this seed. Unfortunately, he's not going to get anything out of Spike Cave. Looks like he's setting up to show off how spin speed can actually help you escape Spike Cave. Oh, except for when you get stuck on the torches. Except for when you get stuck on the torches like that.
That was so... I'm sorry, DT.
I mean, he still made it, but that was pretty funny. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and do Turtle Rock, which is about the best play he has left. I mean, he does have 2 mirror spots, but Turtle Rock's the dense play. Meanwhile, BernTheWitch is in the back of Swamp. I think he skipped left side, actually. So he went straight to the back to see what he could...
We haven't gotten any left side Swamp hints that would have prompted him to skip that side.
I don't believe we have, but I mean, sometimes people just want to go back first, especially if they haven't gotten too many of the dungeon items yet.
Oh, that's a bad joke, chat. Aaron Dobby says, turn down mouse sensitivity, DT. Boo.
Interesting. DT chose bomb, so I think he might be going for that 300 that he saw earlier. So that's not a bad idea either. Assuming that he goes into Turtle Rock right after this anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a smart play. He's staring down. I mean, the main expense that you normally have, you do have to buy keys, but also the main expense, we haven't really seen a whole lot because we've had late bow.
Well, DT, I don't think he really... Let's see, what does he have left? He's got to do... He needs 2 for Ganon's Tower. Well, yeah, he needs to go through a lot of Turtle Rock, so yeah, he's going to need... he might need to buy a couple of keys. But you only need 2 for Ganon's Tower, so... He's not going to need to buy a whole lot. And he's going to check Mimic Cave on the way and pick up a free one, so there's that. Okay, so Burn, I believe, chose to skip left side altogether. I didn't quite catch if there was a map or compass over there, though.
I mean, we know it's the right play at this point in time. We just don't know how he got that information or if he's taking a gamble. And some interesting discussion in chat about, you know, DT's sprite selection, which, you know, he does choose the cursor quite a bit. And there are some advantages to that. One of the advantages that the cursor has is that you have a full view of the shadow, which is consistent across all of the different sprites. The reason why that's important is because a lot of the bomb jump text requires lining up your shadow in certain locations. So having the full view of what the shadow is actually really beneficial for DT. And that's one of the main draws of that sprite or other skinny or floating sprites in that regard.
Yeah, and chat, that was the blue mail in the Bombos tablet, but I think Burn picked up the blue mail either in Swamp or Turtle Rock, and we just did not notice at the time. So that was why it was rupees when he went to... He's taking a shortcut to Catfish that a lot of people don't really think about. Possibly with the intention of coming back and going to Ice Palace afterwards. Not. Also, BernTheWitch definitely did not go after the bow, so he does not know it's there.
Yeah, we saw DT end up checking that in the early part of the game. We haven't seen Burn even in that area, so he does not know that that Lake Hylia Island is the bow.
Ooh, we're gonna have to be careful. He's getting chomped right here. So Bern is gonna. Oh, that's why he came up here to catfish, because he has the mirror and you can do all these flippers checks that you don't actually have to do, because flippers were basically the top possible go mode in this seed, but he didn't know that. So he's gonna go ahead and check all this stuff up here. He's not gonna get much out of it, unfortunately. He does have a lot more rupees as far as doing Zora and being able to save and quit them.
Those hearts instead of fairies feels good.
Alright, so I think there were a couple keys along the way here in Turtle Rock 2, so DT may be in a position to not even have to buy keys at this point, I think. Well, he definitely needs one in Pod, and he needs one in... No, he doesn't need one in Eastern. He needs one in Pod, and he needs one in Swamp. So, and 2 for GT, so I think that he is going to be able to avoid buying keys.
Yeah, he might be in a good spot in there. We still have to worry about arrow counts, because a lot of the bosses, in particular Armos Knights, are just rupee hogs. Even if you use wooden arrows, that's 30 rupees per hit, or per Armos Knight, so that's 30, 60, 90, 180 rupees total if you're going to be planning on using wooden arrows on the Armos Knights. So combine that with all the other rupee expenses for the bow that you're going to have as you climb up Ganon's tower and as you prepare to fight Ganon himself as well. He's kind of at the very edge of what is an acceptable rupee count for endgame.
Yeah, again, with this not being swordless, the silvers are not hard required for him at this really. So mainly, he would probably care about being able to defeat the ice Armos faster. Although he does have a lot of methods he could take them on with too, since Armos can be damaged by just about everything. But he is fast approaching his go mode here, going towards the laser. Meanwhile, we're basically waiting for Bern to decide when to go back into Thieves Town, and I think unfortunately he might go to Ice before he goes to Thieves Town. I think he's gonna do a blind grab on the island right now, maybe on the way. But other than that, he has a lot of incentive to go into Ice Palace.
Yeah, he still doesn't know where that Quake Medallion is, and that's just the roughest point. And it's such a low % chance that it was back in the back of Thieves Town. Pendant Thieves is always such a risky play because you don't want to have to do it if you can avoid it. That's the difference. So much of what Bern is doing right now would be unneeded if he had done that.
Yeah, although it looks like he's going to go K45 or South of Grove Cave first. Yeah, then, again, Ice Palace has 6 items basically for him since it's the green pendant, so I feel like he's going to end up in there before he ends up back at the... Meanwhile, DT is going to head straight to his bow. He's got his flippers. He's in go mode. He actually has 3 keys, so he might need 1. But he can theoretically get that one in Swamp and just not go left side. You can get the key for it, though, if he wants to just get the key and save the...
And at 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds, In the Name of DT is officially in go mode. Yeah, depending on if he decides to pick up that key, he'll be in good shape or not.
He is only a flute away from a key shop if he really is interested in getting another one. And Bern's gonna do the play that seems right in his situation, I think. Well, actually, he's going to Hobo first, it looks like. Maybe he sees that bow, and maybe he does Pod and EP instead of doing Ice first. So we'll see. He might still be a ways from going to Ice.
Remember, DT is sitting at 10-4 in the Group A stage. This is his last race, so he will move to 11-4, sitting very pretty in the standings for his particular group. Everyone else in the group kind of has a lot of races left to play. The worst one at this point, unfortunately, is going to be BernTheWitch. He does have 6 more races even after this, but he's only got 1 win so far. He's not yet statistically eliminated, but man, he's going to make some moves here, and unfortunately, this race was one of the pickups that he needed.
Yeah, and right now his moves are going to be going into Ice Palace. He still hasn't checked Lake Hylia Island either, so he's about to get 6 items. None of those items are going to be what he wants. Oh, hey, there's the Swamp Palace hint that tells him he made the correct choice.
Chad also pointing out Bern is almost intentionally avoiding that Lake Hylia check. Either he forgot that he hasn't checked that, or he thinks that he had made a check earlier and it's nothing, but we do know it is the bow.
He might have also just figured, based on everything else he's doing, that there's not really a great time to route it in, but yeah, he has missed a couple of opportunities. Sometimes people isolate a check because it doesn't really fit into the route they're taking, and it can burn you some if it's what you... Meanwhile, DT has already made his way to Helmasaur, and he's going to mirror out and do the Armos Knights after this. A couple of easy dungeons, very fast. Doesn't have too many hearts, but Helmasaur is not too bad under these circumstances.
Oh, and there's another key for DT, so he won't even have to steal one.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. He doesn't need one for Eastern. He does need the 2 for he does need the 1 for Swamp. So yeah, he doesn't need to buy any keys at all at this point. Shouldn't. And a lot of people do get confused about the fact that you can do GT with just 2 keys. So we'll see if he has that in. Yeah, Bern making his way through Ice Palace. There's really nothing he could find in here that would be worth anything except for maybe some keys for his troubles. But yeah, he did get a hint that said that he didn't have to do left side swamp, so that at least was a nice validation for him. But he's really not going to be able to find anything in here that he cares about.
And I tell you what, just seeing that nice full inventory on DT's side is just super nice to see. And he is going to dive into this little mini rupee room here. Just, hey, why not have some extra arrows? You're getting ready to have to spend a lot of money on them.
Hey, that's 1.5 silver arrows right there. So.
Silver arrows are so expensive. It's almost ridiculous. The nice thing is it's hard mode, as weird as that sounds. So they're only good on Ganon. So you're not tempted to use them on like Vitria.
Yeah, he has to use a few his arrows along the way. He's got potentially two Armos fights also, so that's another good reason to grab some rupees, because it's 180 per fight if you do. So he may in fact not have enough rupees to do Ganon with silvers, but with the what am I trying to say? With the tempered sword, it doesn't really matter. He's good to go no matter what.
Yeah, I mean he'll be fine, and if he really wants to do silvers Ganon, he can get some rupees on the way. We've seen people gather. You can usually expect to get anywhere between 50 to 100 rupees on the Ganon Tower climb. Although again, rando, so you can't bank on anything.
Well, he still has a hula hand, so he could always do that.
Yeah, that still shocks me that neither person did hula hand to start the race. Guy McGuy in chat, yeah, you're right. The Cane of Berna would be great if it kept its invulnerability. I mean, it does do the damage, but you're not invulnerable, so it doesn't quite do what you want it to do in hard.
Alright, Bern has, I believe, gotten the rest of the items and is about to make his way to Cold Stare. Again, not going to get anything particularly good. Meanwhile, DT's going for his go mode swamp. I don't see him having much need to open any chests. The only thing he could really get out of it is keys. Maybe he opens one on the way just for the heck of it.
He can. He doesn't necessarily have to. And I mean, if you have some extra keys here, you can even bypass some of this key collection. Not a lot of runners are ever in a position to do that.
Yeah, I think one of the fun things in this mode is being able to drown the left side swamp key, which they didn't actually need to deal with this time around. Bern gonna get his green pennant, probably turn it in pretty fast. He might end up skipping the bow again on the way there. This could be an interesting situation where if he keeps isolating the Hylia Island, he gets Quake before he gets the bow.
That would be horrible.
Oh, he's gonna go check it right now.
No, he's not.
He's gonna.
Oh, ladies. Oh.
Okay, so scratch that. He's definitely gonna go get that bow now. He was just playing with our hearts a little bit.
I mean, he tugged at them quite well. Let's be realistic here. DT did end up going and stealing that key too.
Yeah, heads up play for him. It's a pretty quick grab and ensures that maybe you could check GT a little more efficiently instead of having to. If you go in with two keys, I think that you're pretty much restricted to going right first, so that you can grab a key and not lock yourself. So Bern is probably about to combo Pod and Eastern Palace, and then check and see what that green pennant gets him, which is nothing he wants. And then I think he might be about down to the back of Thieves Town now.
Yeah, not many other places he can do. It's unfortunate. I mean, it was over an hour ago when we first determined where that Quake is. He's continued to make progress for the most part. The problem was, all of these empty checks. Ice Palace was a huge time sink for him. Doing Trinex in Turtle Rock. Just not having to full clear a lot of things that DT is being able to go mode, unfortunately. And that's been the story of this race. It's just that Quake medallion.
DT getting the quick kill on Argus there and getting his final crystal. So I guess at this point we could talk about that game that people like to play. And so chat should go ahead and get their guesses in. Which spot do you think the Ganon Tower Big Key will be? I'm gonna go with I don't know, 12. But while people get their guesses in, yeah, BernTheWitch has actually been unfortunately losing time ever since he found those flippers, because he didn't need to check anything after that if he had gotten that quake. So everything after that's been a pretty much a time loss.
And you were talking about that Ganon Tower Big Key guessing game. I have not guessed a single one right all tournament. I am still stuck on number 9. So, gotta stick with it until I get it right.
Alright, so DT is on his way to GT, and Burn still got to do Pod and Eastern Palace, and then he's got to find Quake, but I think after this he's pretty limited on to what he can search, so he'll probably be going to Thieves Town after this.
All right, this is your last chance, chat. Go ahead and get your guesses in while you still can. We do have to stop this as soon as he enters the tower. All right, so DT is going to start off on the right side, as you said. He has 3 keys to work with as he's going through.
Yeah, and since he does have those 3 keys, he has more ability to just go left side instead of going right, so that is gonna help us smooth it out a little.
There's a 20 rupee, so that puts him at 230. So he will have, you need 280 in order to ensure that you can do everything. If you don't fire a single arrow other than what you have to for Ganon and for the mimics. Again, as you said, tempered sword, so we don't have to use them for Ganon. Man, it would be nice.
And so that was 4, 5, 6, and 7. Nothing so far, but some more welcome. Burn, meanwhile, heading into Eastern Palace, going to take on those Armos Knights. He actually has a ton of money, so he's not at all in the same situation. I guess he must have picked up some extra rupees in some of the dungeons that he ended up doing more. Alright, so that was 8, and we're going on to 9 here.
God, foiled again. Yeah, chat, he's, to Burn's credit, he can complete crystal dungeons, and he knows that there's at least some items on those crystal dungeons. So as soon as he got the bow, he said, okay, well, I'm going to do these crystal dungeons while I still can.
Alright, 10, 11, 12, so I lose. 13, but look at all that money, so he is good.
DT is going to be able to make it rain throughout all the gauntlet here.
Alright, 14 incoming. Alright, still nothing, so we're gonna kill some Ice Armos, but we don't have to worry about our money anymore, so hey.
Yeah, I mean, that's super nice right now.
DT demonstrating that the fast kill can be a little harder to pull off and with some ice physics.
And not worried about wasting arrows at this point in time. So 15, 16, 7.
Practically vanilla. 17. So if you said 17, today you win the adoration of Twitch.
I mean, that's something. So the top supporter to get it is Rocky 2418. GG, Rocky. And that puts Rocky in our top leaderboard for for 3 wins. Wow, Rocky.
Tied with about 5 other people too.
So here's Bern in Spike Cave, still trying to find these other spots. Meanwhile, DT is doing very well climbing the gauntlet. Man, those 600 rupees are just a game changer in terms of what you can and can't do as you're climbing the tower.
Yeah, DT's so rich he can use his bow and gauntlet now. He is going to have to be a little careful, though, because he's running out of hearts pretty fast. But so far, mostly pretty smooth gauntlet. Gets a nice little fire rod ricochet there.
Oh, he's at half a heart right now. And this is only going to give him 1 more heart. Ooh, this is a rough...
Meanwhile, Bern, I think, has run out of things to do and is now going back to the...
This is the play for Bern. Oh, chat, let's have a quick guessing game while we still can. What is the number of rage slashes Bern's going to have once he finds that Quake medallion? I'm going to put at least 3 rage slashes.
I'm going to say 0 because he doesn't have time for all that.
That's fair. I think that's a legitimate guess.
He hasn't seen his opponent dot done yet, so he doesn't know that he's in trouble. Well, he probably will know that he's a little bit behind, but he doesn't officially know that it's a problem. People do like to ignore Pendant TT Thieves Town a lot of times, so he may have a little bit of hope.
And other than this particular check, Bern has run a pretty solid race. I mean, he hasn't had any poor execution or anything like that. It's just kind of a wrong gamble. So if he's happy with how he's played and just has the bad gamble, he could think DT is right there with him. That's kind of the difference between doing a group race and a one-on-one race. You know, it's entirely possible that those one-on-one races, your opponent made the same bad gamble you did.
I think you feel pretty bad if you full cleared literally everything and finally find what you need. Last location, anything feels bad, even if it's like 15 minutes into. Alright, DT and Aghanim 2. Just 1 so far. Oh, nice double there, and Burn has gone into go mode, and he does not have time for Rage Slash.
Yes, those people who chose 0, congratulations, you win.
And what do I win?
Twitch chat's love and adoration.
Oh, we already gave that away. Do they have enough to go around? Do you, Twitch chat?
I think they do. Alright, so DT is going to start his blue bacon fight. Meanwhile, BernTheWitch knows exactly where he's got to do in go mode now.
Well, Twitch seems a little confused on how much love and affection they have to give away, but you know, I'll expect a package soon.
Careful what you wish for.
Alright, GT already in phase 3. So this is about to be over. Burn, meanwhile, going ahead and diving into Misery Mire, his final dive. Gonna be a little bit too late, unfortunately. Oh, nice triple.
Man, that's... You don't see a lot of triples because a lot of runners don't want to risk it in retro for those 50 roops, but DT makes it smooth.
Hey, he's rich. What does he care? He can waste some arrows.
And now the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in the entire game. Can DT cross it? Yes.
Alright, get your GGs in chat for In the Name of DT. Meanwhile, BernTheWitch doing his go mode mire. Looks like he just got the news that DT finished, though. That hesitation right there. But we'll see. It looks like he's going to continue on, right?
I believe Burn also has the hint that the Firelock portion of Misery Mire is a no-go.
Yeah, well, he went to all the places, so that DT did and more, so he should.
And joining us now, In the Name of DT, with his win. GG.
Hey, thanks, Fantasia.
So if you had to guess, what was the difference in this seed between you and Burn?
I mean, flippers were pretty well hidden. I mean, that would probably be my first guess.
It was actually pretty much earlier than that. Flippers allowed you to skip a lot of things, which Burn did not have the luxury of because he did not go all the way into Thieves.
Oh no.
So he did all of Swamp. Well, he actually skipped left side, but he did checked Swamp, he checked Ice. He checked pretty much everything before Thieves Town, unfortunately. Or before going back to...
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't blame him for that, I guess. I mean, we had the book early enough. I know I checked the pedestal. I'm assuming he may have. You know that it's not required, so why dip a pendant dungeon if you don't necessarily need to? No, I can totally get that.
Yeah, and that's really was the difference. You know, you could route things together. Having that bow on the island kind of is like, oh, okay, well, that means, you know, Eastern and Pod are, you know, you can't finish those until you have the flippers and the mirror. And those were both up on Death Mountain, so it was kind of a friendly seed in terms of the routing, so long as you got that Quake.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't prevent me from last locationing Turtle Rock, but I don't know. It was weird being in a situation where I needed the mirror and the flippers just to get the bow, which was going to let me do 2 more crystal dungeons. And actually, I'd totally forgotten that I needed hookshot, and then I found it, and it's like, oh, right, yeah, I need this too, because I was so focused on what I need to get the bow.
Yeah, Bern taking an unfortunate death from Vitreous there. Gonna go back in and try again. Yeah, I think checking the Hylia Island early and actually like full committing to Thieves Town were the ways to save the most amount of time in this season.
So the next question I have really has to do with the mode retro. You know, it seemed like you went out of your way to collect rupees quite a bit at the time. How concerned were you with your rupee counts kind of as you were going through, particularly climbing Ganon's Tower until, you know, one room?
I mean, slightly less concerned, I think, because it was hard mode, so the biggest money sink for rupees wasn't going to come until Ganon's room itself. But there was always that possibility of Ice Armos, and that's, I mean, ideally 180. Not the case this time, a little bit more expensive than that. What else? I mean, after I went to Zora, I had no idea where I had last saved and quit, or else I would have just reset the game to get that money back. I was kind of wishing that there might have been a potion that just refills your rupees.
Potion to refill your rupees? Like, how
Yeah, sure,
full
why not?
is this? Are we talking here? Like 9999 or...
Well, it's hard mode, so half the capacity, like 5,000 maybe? I don't know.
That seems fair. Vitor, get on that.
Yeah, it was actually pretty nice finding those 2-300s in Ganon's Tower, because you could just let loose with the bow and not worry about it. Oh yeah, how did you feel about that spike cave exit that you had going on?
I was laughing. I was kind of cursing myself, but laughing at the same time. Like, it's that one tile width between those torches, and I apparently just wanted to dance on the torches all night.
Yeah, we had a pretty good chuckle from that one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Alright, BernTheWitch gonna go for round 2 with Vitreous here.
So, DT, this puts you now at a pretty good spot, all things. I think you're at 11 wins now?
Yes, this was my last race in groups, finalizing my record at an 11-4.
How does that make you feel, you know, as you're going in? You have kind of a weird kind of glut of people immediately behind you who are at, you know, 7-3, 6-3, 5-4, who have a lot of races yet to do. Are you feeling pretty confident, all things said, or what's your feeling?
I'm not a math guy, but I think that 11 wins statistically at least guarantees brackets. We'll see what happens as it goes down the rope, though, because up until a few days ago when I did my doubleheader against Rywak, actually, yeah, no, I did all 3 races with Rywak just within the past 4 or 5 days or so. And but prior to that, it was literally anyone's game for first and second. No telling which way this group was going to go. So, I mean, my personal goal with any of these tournaments is always just to make the brackets at the very least, and Spring of 2017, I did that. Got bopped first round. Last fall, did not make it. Spring this year, made it barely. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've reached my goal, and I'm happy and content with that. So whoever we may wind up getting in the first round, I mean, go ahead, knock me out. I'm happy.
No, don't say that. I'm counting on you to continue to race here.
Well, we will see what happens. But I think it's at least important to be satisfied with your progress and where you're sitting, to be in a comfortable spot for what your goals were.
Willard J. Bradley pointing out in chat that either Rywick or Vivi could theoretically win out, and they would actually nab the first place spot from you.
Mm-hmm.
But second place, I think you might be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally just how this group is right now. There's no certainty of who the two are that are actually going to make it through. And, I mean, the interesting thing is that in some combination, they've still got races against each other, so they can't, like, all do it, but we could make some really, really interesting situations, maybe get a interesting tiebreaker somewhere in there, who knows. It's going to be fun to watch, I know that. I've been checking the schedule every day and my group channel just to see when they're getting stuff scheduled, because I'm actually really curious to watch all of it if I can.
So the question becomes, what are you going to do in, like, the weeks that you have while you're waiting for everyone else to do? Gonna sit back, get on the mic some more?
Oh no, I'm gonna lose myself in Breath of the Wild.
All right, BernTheWitch is now starting his climb up Ganon's tower. He's got to find that big key. It's a little bit buried there. We'll see which route he ends up deciding to. But I guess we'll let you go and get ready for your Breath of the Wild marathon. Do you have any final thoughts as we wrap things up here?
It's just an interesting seed. I haven't played retro in a long time, so I felt like I did pretty all right with key management. I think I wound up having just the right amount going up top of GT.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was buying too many or not quite enough at times. I was trying to think ahead, but yeah, fun seed. Kakariko was loaded, and that was that. Thanks for commentating, guys. Thanks for tracking. I believe that's Jetsa that's tracking. So thank you guys. Hope it was enjoyable.
GG.
Yep, GG DT, and thank you so much for running In the Name of DT, everyone. If you like what you saw from him, give him a follow here on Twitch. It's not like he's my boss or anything in terms of comms, so I have to say nice things about him.
All right, BernTheWitch looks like he's taking the same path that DT took, so he'll also find his key at number 7.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it depends on how he opens those last few, but he'll at least get the, Ganon's piggy bank.
Yeah, although he came in with a lot more rupees than DT did overall, so he's going to be even more able to throw his... I think he actually came in with the same amount of keys as DT did as well, so... everybody having just enough keys for what they need.
Yeah, and that was really kind of nice that both DT and BernTheWitch, retro mode is one of those modes that can be rough from time to time if you're not accustomed to managing your keys and managing your money. So kudos to both of them. There was never really a point in time where they had to stop and farm for anything or go out of their way to find it. They really managed their everything very well. Oh no!
Well, looks like we're gonna get the full right play instead, and it's gonna add. Well, it's not gonna really add any key need to this, but it is gonna add some checks that he didn't need. I mean, at this point, it doesn't technically matter. He's got the luxury of time. At least I presume that he's going full right, because otherwise there wasn't much sense in mirroring at that particular.
I was probably thinking, well, he can avoid doing Ice Armos and doing those checks if he just goes right now. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a great check here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all those rupees, I'd be raring to go on the Ice Armos at that point. Hey, I've got 1,000 rupees and I need to throw some arrows. Not much else to spend them on at this point.
Well, and the rough part is you can't switch to silvers for Ice Armos either because you're in hard mode, and you're stuck waiting until you can do Ganon for silvers. So.
And he also found another key too, at least. So it's got all the keys he needs still.
Landed exactly on 1,000. That's nice.
Looks like he gets to avoid that one chest at least. But what was that, number 21 for him? Or no, 20. Alright, he's also gonna be able to spend as many rupees as he wants to going into this gauntlet too. See if he makes use of this for the upper rooms.
He's certain he's letting his money fly. We'll put it that way. There's other euphemisms that we could use that I'm not going to do because this is a family-friendly channel.
I mean, you could make it rain at Subway if you really wanted to. The employees might not appreciate it as much.
Anyone who works for tips would not mind anyone making it rain, I don't think.
Looks like he's not ready to pull the bow out just yet, but he's still got some sword beams, which makes the skeletons, the Stalfos, a little less. This Zazak is avoiding him really well, though.
That's some next level dodge strats from this Zazak.
Alright, gauntlets down. Now we're on to the Landmo's fight. Doesn't have a huge amount of magic, but it looks like he's going to go with Fire Rod. I was trying for the sword fire rod combo. Didn't quite get the shot off of.
All right, so he's set up nice as he's going through. Gonna get a extra magic and heart on his way up just to make things a little bit easier on him. Only 12 hearts, so not what you would expect for normal mode, but in hard mode, perfectly acceptable. How many take any's did he have as well? He had at least 2 take any's.
I think he only found one with a heart, and you found the other one with a sword.
Right, okay.
Alright, unfortunately getting knocked down on the fire rod there. Take any caves that he found was below the Kakariko village. There was a heart, and then in the Lost Woods there was the tempered sword. At the normally it's a chess game.
Yeah, I think those were the only take any caves. I think you're right, the only ones we found.
Right, head into the top here, get into the final rooms. Just enough keys to get through this with no worries, so no need to kill those. Hey, look, it's the mushroom.
Hey, let's go do a fetch quest real quick. I'm down, aren't you?
Sure, I mean, why not? Visit our favorite witch.
I don't know if I'd call her my favorite witch.
Well, she's kind of like the hermit in that regard. She wins the award by default.
True, I guess there really aren't any other witches, at least in this game.
Well, BernTheWitch might have something to talk with her.
True. Well, he's talking about burning the witch, not being the witch. Alright, so Geometry Mage is doing his angles, but a nice triple at the very end finishes him off. And Bern is on his way to Mr. Blue Bacon himself as well.
Alright, dropping in. I don't remember if he has any potions, but he does have tempered sword, so he should be able to get this done pretty. Getting a nice double hit off the trident.
I do remember him picking up a blue potion at some point, but if we remember, he used that blue potion to potion glitch Palace of Darkness prior to him having the bow, so it's possible he doesn't have any.
Well, he is into phase 4, so he's in.
Oh.
Ooh. I was just about to say this is technically the easiest phase, but he did have an errant fire back there, unfortunately.
It can happen sometimes. Here we go. BernTheWitch versus Ganon, round 2.
Alright, we're into the gross phase, phase 2. Nobody's favorite phase in any. Alright, into phase 3, no problem. So I think he's gonna be good. He had that same setup for a triple that DT did, but unfortunately Ganon was a little close to those torches, so but he did still get a double. And onto his last hit right here. And now we just got to make it across the bridge, and it's GG for BernTheWitch.
And GG Burn finishing with an official time of 2:16:37. GG. Let's see if we can't get him in here for a quick. All right, and joining us now, BernTheWitch. GG.
GG.
Just double checking, Bern, are you with us?
Oh, I'm stupid. I forgot I changed my push to talk button. GG.
All right, man. So just give us your initial thoughts on that scene and how you felt as you were going through.
I felt it started like a jet seed. I forgot to check the take any cave with the sword in it, though. That kind of haunted me, but that was getting close to an Aghanim check anyway. And I think I was going up to check what was it, Death Mountain at the time? It didn't hurt me too bad. But what hurt me was the bow and Quake, because I didn't do front half of Thieves Town for a really long time, and I actually forgot to check Hylia before dipping into Ice Palace.
Yeah, the Hylia Island didn't hurt you too much because you eventually got there. The major thing we think is Quake, because you did Ice Palace looking for Quake and Bow. You full cleared Turtle Rock. You had to get the flippers in the back, but then you did Trinex. You had to full clear Swamp Palace looking for that kind of stuff. So really, it felt like Quake would have led you to the right way. And man, that was available from such an early point in time. You were on a good path up until that point in time, but that second half of Thieves Town, which we don't blame you for not doing, it's Pendant Thieves.
I was so sad when I found that, too. I knew he was really close to finishing when I found that, because I knew he probably found Tempered before I did. He probably found Bow before I did. I think he found Quake before.
He actually found Tempered after you because he was ignoring the Take Any caves for the most part, and he got it in Skullwoods. And yeah, the funny thing is you both did Aghanim, because you were just going up there. That was about the last thing you had to check, and you were there anyway, so why not do it? And then it just ended up being the shovel, so that really didn't cost either one of you any time.
I was actually wondering if the troll would be, if it was on Zora, which I really don't like doing in Retro, because that's such a huge cash sink, or if it was in shovel the whole time, and you never had to do Aga in the first.
Yeah, we were kind of figuring or hoping for it to be Shovel after you found Shovel in Aghanim's Tower, but it was pretty clear you were both going to do Aghanim just to, maximize your time management, because at that point you don't want to leave and then have to come back if it's just on the pyramid, even if that is the less obvious or less chance of that being the
let's see.
Yeah, in terms of a retro mode seed, I mean, you were kind of flush with cash for most of the race. You didn't really have to worry about anything, despite not doing Houlihan. Were you a little bit surprised?
A little bit. I was thinking about doing Houlihan if I ever got like really strapped for cash, but I never felt the need to this. I mean, the only thing that worried me was maybe having to do Ice Armos, and I was kind of low on cash at the time, but I guess that worked out.
Yeah, you found Ganon's piggy bank there, 600 roops just sitting there in the rando.
Yeah, Ganon's Tower is Fort Knox the seed. Who knew?
Well, this kind of puts you in a little bit of a rough spot. I don't think statistically you're eliminated from brackets quite yet, but 6 games left. Sitting at 1-8 right now. What's going to be the plays for the rest of this tournament?
I think for the most part, I probably am actually eliminated from brackets, so the most I can really do is play spoiler to either Rywek and Aaron in those 3 games that I have left with them.
So what's your favorite mode that you've played out of this tourney so far, considering the availability of so many different?
So far, I think the best mode I played has been Seeds with Randomizer, but my best mode is actually inverted, and I haven't played that a single time this tournament yet.
Well, maybe the bot will give you some inverted coming.
And I can force Aaron to play our second match inverted too, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun to see a lot of the different modes and the things you can do with them this.
Yeah, it's fun when you never know what you're going to play. Well, for the third match.
Any final thoughts on the seed before we call it a...
I have some very unkind words for Sahasrara and that green pendant, but other than that, it was okay.
Okay, well, thanks for putting on a good show for us, Gigi, and thanks for everybody joining us today. And be sure to follow all of the Speed Gaming channels. They've got 1 through 6 now. You've got German, Spanish, and French. Be sure to follow these runners. And thanks to Jezza, I think it was, I'll make sure I'm saying that right, for tracking, and Matasia, my co-com. Make sure to give those guys a follow as well.
All right, yeah, and big shout out to you as well, Recedador. Always a pleasure to work with you.
All right. And stay tuned to the various Speed Gaming channels, because there is still plenty of tournament left. Lots of game 2s and 3s coming up still. And check the schedule. They keep it pretty updated. I think that we've got a few more games coming today, and let's see. I think that's it. Any final thoughts, Vitasia?
No, I think you covered it. As long as you're following everyone and the Speed Gaming networks for more rando.
All right. Well, then I have been receipted.
And I'm Vitation.
All right. Everybody have a great day.